What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here. Welcome back to another video. So the stock market sold off today. S&P 500 down 0.5%, the Dow Jones down 0.9%, and the Nasdaq 100 pretty much broke even, but the Russell 2000 got hit the most, down almost 2% on the day. And in this video, we're going to be talking more about the stock market, breaking down some technicals, going over a bunch of stocks that I'm looking to buy right now. And I want to share with you guys what I've been doing in the stock market, an earnings report from Zoom, and in general, where my head is at as a trader, as an investor. So make sure to hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 20,000 subscribers, and get yourself 4 free stocks from WeBull down below, valued up to $1,600. And by the way, that is running out here in the next couple of days. So deposit $100 and get yourself 4 free stocks. So let's get into it, guys. Again, market sold off today. S&P 500 is struggling yet again at that 3645 level. And if you guys don't know, you guys should know at this point. A couple Mondays ago when Pfizer came out with that V-Shop news, the S&P 500 hit an all-time high at 3645. And ever since then, we've been struggling at that point, right? We've tested 3645 multiple times, that general area, right? We got rejected there in the middle of November. Last week, we got rejected once, twice, 3 times at that point, and today we ended up selling off pretty aggressively, right? Nothing too crazy, but we did see a pretty decent drop in the S&P this morning. If you guys take a look here, we opened up at about 36.35 roughly, and we saw a drop to about 35.95 within the first hour and 15 minutes in the session. So the S&P opened up down about, well, it opened up 36.45 or 35, and it went down about 1% in the first hour. And from that drop, what we notice is a clear recovery for the rest of the day. And that's good news here. That's good news for the bulls. And let me explain why. If we go back to that hourly chart, what you guys can see is we sold off, like I just said, but look where we held as a support after that sell-off in the first hour of the session. We held the 50 SMA on this hourly chart, which happens to be a support level on the hourly chart for the S&P 500 over the past couple of weeks, right? We've held it multiple times. And we also ended up holding a higher low and this overall uptrend that you guys can see on this trend line. And we recovered off of that higher low into the close, which again, that's very good for the bulls. But one thing here that I'm a bit worried about, I'm not really worried about it, just a little bit, is we closed under 36.25, right? That's a level that we struggled at back in the middle of November here on the 16th, on the 17th, on the 18th, right? You guys can see here we got rejected at 36.25 multiple times. So for me to see more upside in the S&P 500, we need to break 36.25, right? So the first sign that we're seeing, which is good, is, again, we're holding a higher low here on the 20-day 1-hour chart. We're holding that 50 SMA as support. But, again, we need to break out of 36.25, and if we do get that tomorrow, sometime this week, I can see the S&P filling the gap up to hit all-time highs. And like I said yesterday, I'll say it again, if we break 36.45, 36.50, I can see short-term momentum getting us to maybe 3,700, 3,750 here on the S&P 500. And this is kind of looking like an ascending triangle in a sense, right? We're making higher lows into the resistance at about 36.25, 36.45, and we're going to squeeze out eventually, whether it breaks out into 3,700, that would be the completion of the ascending triangle breakout, or whether we, tank under the support, maybe we break 3,600, and that would be a completely different story, as that would be a bearish pattern, right? We could be going lower in that scenario. But in my opinion, like I've been saying, I think the markets are going higher. I think we might see a Santa Claus rally, if you will, which could be a sort of a push here in the holiday season over the next couple of weeks. I'm leaning more towards that rather than an extended sell-off at this point. And honestly, I'd love to know your thoughts on that down below. So for tomorrow, just watch 36.25, 36.45, pretty much the same levels that we've been talking about here on the channel. And when it comes down to the SPY ETF, which tracks the S&P 500, right, we closed under a pretty big resistance, under 363. We actually closed at 362, which has been a resistance here ever since the middle of November, right? And last week, honestly, guys, now that I'm looking at this chart. So for more momentum to the upside, SPY needs to break 363, right? Pretty much the same levels that we've been talking about here in the last couple of videos. So I don't want to bore you guys, right? I don't want to bore you guys, but 363 is resistance right now that needs to break. If it does, I think it will. Again, that's my opinion. I think it will. And if it does, you know, we probably will see a push to maybe 366. And if 366 breaks, that is where we could see a push, maybe to 368, maybe to 370 here on SPY. And when it comes down to the good old Dow Jones Industrial Average, guys, we ended up breaking a pretty big support today. Take a look here. A couple weeks ago, really about 3 weeks ago at this point, Dow Jones hit a high at about 29,700, right? And that's a level that I was actually looking at to see, okay, is the Dow Jones going to hold this as support? And it seems like it's not doing that. We actually failed to do that this morning. We tanked below it. We hit about 29,000. Let me take a look here. Where was that? 29,400. Wow. So Dow Jones opened up at 29,850, went down about 400 points, lost about 1.2% at its lowest point today, and it recovered after that. But overall, at this point, we are trading under that 29,700 level. So for me, I need to see that break. And the uptrend is still intact. It's still intact, right? This could be a higher low here based on this hourly chart. But again, for uptrend momentum, for a breakout, quote unquote, 29,700 must break, and from there, we might see a gap fill up to maybe 29,900, maybe even 30,000, 30,100, which is the all-time high here on the Dow Jones. So watch this uptrend here, this trend line that I drew on the hourly chart. If that holds, we pop out of 29,700. We might see some upside there. When it comes down to the Nasdaq 100, guys, this is the only one that was green today, up 0.08%, pretty much break even, but still, it was green, up 10 points. You got to give it some credit for that. And what we're seeing here is, okay, Nasdaq 100 pulled down today, and oh my goodness, I think there's a hurricane watch outside. I'm hearing some thunder. So if my power goes out and it turns dark here, we're still going to push through, guys. So be mindful of that. But anyway, Nasdaq 100, we pulled down today, and this is very important. We actually held 12,150, 12,200 at a higher low, as a support. That's huge, because if you guys have been following my channel, I've been talking so much about this 12,150, 200, 12,175 level, because we got rejected there back in the middle of October. Also here a couple weeks ago in the middle of November. So the fact that we broke out last week above that resistance, that's bullish. And the fact that we pulled down today and we held 12,150, 12,170 as support and we rallied into the close, that's even more bullish. That's a very good sign, in my opinion, for the bulls. So for tomorrow, what am I watching? Well, it's very clear here. We need to break 12,300. If that breaks, I can see a breakout overall on the Nasdaq. And honestly, I mean, it seems like today tech was stronger than, the other stocks out there, and that goes to show why the Nasdaq was up. So we might see the continuation of tech doing well. And I think if 12,300 breaks, I mean, we might see a gap fill up to that all-time high, which I've been talking about, which is at about 12,400, 12,450, right around that area. So watch for that breakout on the Nasdaq. If we don't break out of 12,300, though, we might go back down to 12,175 and test that again. But overall, Nasdaq is looking very bullish. And when it comes to the Russell 2000, we're seeing a much needed pull down today. And I'm not worried about this because, again, it's much needed. This thing has been going crazy over the past couple of weeks, pretty much all of November. I mean, take a look here, guys. In November itself, the Russell 2000 went up almost 20%, 17% to be exact. So the fact that it's pulling down 2%, I mean, guys, we're talking pennies here. I mean, not literally pennies, but it's nothing compared to what it's gone up in November. And honestly, I could see the Russell come down even lower. I honestly would want it to come down lower, maybe down to about 1715, maybe 1750. That could be where we see a pull down. So overall, that's the market update, market breakdown, some technical analysis on the S&P, the Dow, the Nasdaq, the Russell. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you buying stocks? Are you selling stocks? Are you just sitting on cash? And if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure to hit that like button for me. Let's try to get 400 likes on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get 20,000 subscribers here by the end of 2020, and we have a month to do it, and I think we can easily do it. And obviously it wouldn't be possible without you guys, and I do appreciate all you guys out there watching these videos. So let's get into what I personally did today. And the truth is, I didn't do anything new. I'm just holding on to my positions. And at this point in time, I have a good amount of positions. I'll be honest, guys. I have Facebook here, which I added last week at about, what, 277.50. Facebook didn't do much, pretty much consolidated today, down 0.3%. And I want to add more to Facebook as it breaks out, if it breaks out above 280. So I'm going to set an alert here on Facebook, create alert, mark is at or above 280 bucks. And at that point, I think if it does break 280, I think we're going to see a big pop on Facebook, right? It's been suppressed these past couple of weeks, honestly, ever since the middle of October. So I think there's a lot of pent-up upside on Facebook, and that's kind of why I jumped the gun a bit early on my position, getting in before the uptrend confirmation. I mean, we are uptrending, but we didn't fully break out of the 280 resistance. So I built a little position a bit early, but I want to add into the uptrend momentum, if that makes any sense. The breakout momentum, if/when we get that. So I'm in Facebook at 277.50. I'm also in Alibaba, which got slammed today, guys, down almost 5% on the day. I'm in at 269.35. And if you guys remember, was it it was last week, right? I locked in half of my position on Alibaba. And this goes to show why it's so important to lock in your profits, because you never know what's going to happen with a stock. If you're up a good amount in a quick time period, which I was with Alibaba, it's good to take some off the table, right? Depending on what you want to do with your money, your risk tolerance. For me, I took off half of my position and it worked out, right? I'm still holding on to half of the position because overall I'm still bullish on Alibaba, but I'm glad I locked in some profits. I mean, I got in again at 269 roughly, and I locked in that profit. I think it was at around 279, right? So I got that quick daily gain. It was over one day, I believe. And yeah, I'm not regretting it. Let's just put it that way, guys. So I'm in Alibaba, Facebook. Workhorse got slammed today. A lot of the EV stocks have gotten slammed, these past couple of days. Workhorse down 6.66%. That's a little bit weird, but yeah, 6.66% is what Workhorse went down. And this is a healthy pull down in my eyes. I mean, take a look. If I extend this to the right, what you guys are noticing is, okay, we got very overbought when it got to 30 bucks. We filled that gap pretty much to those resistance points from back in September and October. And what we're doing now is we're selling off, and we're about to test an old resistance from back in the beginning of September as support right around 25 bucks. And that happens to be where that 4-hour 50 SMA is. So in my eyes, hey, this is a very healthy pull down. So I'd watch Workhorse to see, okay, is it going to hold this level and maybe fill the gap back up to 28 bucks? I think that's possible. And for me, I'm in at about $22-ish, and this is another one that I locked in half of my profits on, and I'm very happy I did that. And I'm obviously letting the other half of the position ride, and it goes to show again why it's worth locking in profits, guys. And I say this all the time on the channel, no one's ever gone broke locking in profits, right, guys? So that's Workhorse. Apple is another one that I'm so happy with this one, guys. I called this out on Twitter earlier, and if you guys aren't following me there, it's at StasSurfS, and make sure to follow me on Instagram as well, at StasSurfS. I called this out saying, okay, we're in this wedge. We're going to end up picking a direction, whether it's up or down, and once we do pick that direction, whether it's up or down, I think there's going to be, and I said this before, I'll say it again, I thought and I think there's going to be momentum in either of those directions, and we can see now that we broke up, right? We broke out of the resistance of this wedge. We broke the 50 and the 180 SMA on this 4-hour chart. And Apple did extremely well, up 2% on the day. We're actually at about 120 here after hours. We hit over 120 earlier in the session, almost 121. So this is looking very bullish on Apple, guys, very bullish. And I've been in Apple, gosh, I don't even know how long. It's probably been a month at this point. But this is one of my longer term swings, right? I'm in at $112, and I'm looking at exiting anywhere from 125 to 127. Maybe not all of my position, but maybe half of my position. Again, going back to what I usually do is where I lock in profits and let some of the position ride off, right? So Apple, I'm very happy with this one. SLV on the flip side, not so happy, right? Silver, gold, they've been slammed here, guys. You know, silver is not doing well. Gold is down, but I still want to have a little bit of exposure here in silver via SLV, which is an ETF that tracks silver. So I'm holding on to that still. And EA, thank you. It's coming back to life, right? It's playing out like I was talking about, right? We were in a big downtrend for the past couple of months, ever since the beginning of August. And I told you guys, listen, if 124 breaks, this old level of resistance, right? Well, actually, it was an old level of support. But we broke that support, which then it became a resistance, right? And I told you guys, if 124 breaks, if this 180 SMA breaks, we're going to see an explosion in EA, and we're going to start filling the gaps back up, right? First gap to fill, which it pretty much did today, was to 128, and we closed right under 128. And at this point, I think we're going to about 132, 135. That's the next target that I have here on EA, which is roughly where my cost basis is at about $132 per share. So EA, I'm very happy with this one. And just because it had a couple bad weeks, I mean, doesn't mean that my philosophy behind the trade is it's damaged, right? Because listen, guys, we're seeing the next gen consoles out already. We're seeing a lot of these new games being purchased, and I think in the next coming months, the sales for EA, they're going to be great because of this next gen console. And that's the thesis I had when I first got into the trade, and it's still intact at this point, and I'm holding on to it for a couple more months at least, and I might even add more to it at this point. So let me know down below in the comments, guys, what are you up to? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. And again, if you guys are enjoying the video, smash that like button for me, and let's get into Zoom, ticker symbol ZM, which, gosh, this thing is very volatile here after hours. Take a look at this, guys. It's up and down, up and down. They closed at 480, went down to 428, popped back up. I mean, take a look at these candlesticks, guys. It popped up to 478 twice. Now it's trading at about 450, and they actually had a pretty good earnings report from a brief glance that I took here, and I'll probably hop on the earnings call later. They had EPS of 99 cents versus 76 cents estimated, so a nice beat on EPS, and revenue came in at $777.2 million versus $693.95 million. So double beat, EPS and revenue. And what I always talk about and what you guys need to look at when it comes to earnings is the guidance, guys. What's the guidance looking like? Is it soft? Is the guidance bad, or is it great? In this case, hey, I think the guidance was good. Zoom sees full year 2021 adjusted EPS of $2.85 to $2.87 versus the $2.55 estimated by analysts. So Zoom's guidance for EPS is better than what analysts are expecting, or what they did expect for 2021, which is a good thing in my book. Excuse me, guys. And revenue is 200 billion. Geez, that would be unbelievable. 2.57 billion to 2.58 billion. That's what Zoom's expecting versus 2.41 billion from the analysts for full year 2021. So guidance is looking good. EPS and revenue is looking good. Sales are up 140% roughly year over year. And they also see Q4 revenue better than what they just reported. They see Q4 revenue of $806 million versus $811 million estimated. And like I've been saying on the channel, I mean, right now we're seeing a lot of shutdowns, right? Schools are shutting down, universities, businesses, people are still working home. And I think Zoom is here to stay, not only in the time periods we're in, the CV and so forth, but after this blows over. Who knows when that's going to happen, but I think Zoom is still going to have a place in the market, and in the short term, I still think it's going to go well. It's going to do well as well, if that makes any sense, right? Short term, I'm bullish, and long term, I still think it has a place in the market. So I'm excited about this. Honestly, I'm not in Zoom, but now that I saw the EPS, the revenue, the guidance, I might consider a position maybe tomorrow or some point this week, right? We're seeing resistance at the 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart. So, honestly, I'd like to see 460 break. I mean, that's a resistance stemming back from the beginning of September. So, if 460 can break, I think there's upside, maybe 485. And if 485 breaks, I think Zoom could hit 500, 505. And I've said that before here on the channel, and I'm still standing by that. So, that's Zoom's earnings. I'm very happy with that. I'm very excited to see what happens here in the coming weeks. Let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comments. Now let's bang out some other stocks that I'm looking at, starting off with DraftKings, which sold off pretty quickly. And what you guys notice is a lot of these stocks, they dropped very quickly today, and they recovered back. You know, DraftKings was at $54 pre-market, hit $49 at about 10:45 a.m. here on the East Coast, and we rallied off that low, closing at about 52. And what that ended up doing is we sold off again, like you guys just saw, and that ended up holding a higher low on the 50 SMA on the hourly chart. And that's a pretty good sign, although after hours here we are at about 51.90, which is not looking too great. But overall, if DraftKings can hold $52, 51.50, this overall 50 simple moving average on the hourly chart, I mean, I could see DraftKings pop back out of this. And even if it goes to $50, I think that could be a dip buy as well on DraftKings. With, honestly, it's in need of this is a much needed pull down for DraftKings. So, yeah, I mean, we might see a bit of a sell-off, but the bottom could be in other words, right, at about $49, $50. So DraftKings, I think there's a lot of momentum. Overall, the price target I have on it is about $55, $56, and I think it can get there. But the question is, when is it going to get there? And only time will tell. But overall, DraftKings is the number one stock here that I'm watching. Palantir is another one of those that dropped so quickly today, guys. Take a look, and this came out, a short report came out from Citron last week saying they're short in the stock. They think it's going to $20, and look at how quickly it did go to $24. We opened up on a nice pop, hit $30, and in the snap of a finger, it dropped. That's unbelievable, guys. It dropped 20% from $30 to $24. That's a bear market in the span of an hour, guys. I can't even believe that I'm saying this right now. From $30 to $24, that's a bear market. And you guys can see it popped off of that low and recovered, consolidated for the rest of the day at about 27 bucks. And what I'm seeing here on the hourly chart, very similar to DraftKings, is we're right around that 50 SMA on the hourly chart, right? So if this can hold, we break out of this EMA, which is a resistance right now in the past 2 days of trading, I think we might see some upside potential on Palantir. And who knows, the bottom could be in. I honestly think the bottom could be in. Just because Citron came and said, okay, it's going to $20, doesn't mean that it is, right? 24, for all we know, could be the bottom. So watch for that breakout on Palantir. I think there is some upside potential here. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if it goes down lower. If it actually goes to $20, that is where I would load the boat. But again, it might not. It really might not. Who knows? And when it comes down to the next one, guys, take a look at this. And let's have a moment of silence for this stock here, guys. Nikola. I'll give 2 seconds here for Nikola. Okay, Nikola went down 27% today. And what did I tell you guys a couple videos ago? I'm not a genie, right? I don't have a crystal ball, but we talked about this. If the GM deal goes sour, if it doesn't come out to be what it was originally supposed to be when we got that news a week ago and Nikola went up, if it didn't come out to be like that, the stock is going to tank. And today we got news. Let me talk to you guys about it. General Motors announced that it is giving up an equity stake in the electric truck startup, and the two said they are dropping plans to build the Badger, Nikola's pickup truck for consumers. The deal was initially viewed as a no-lose situation for GM, but the talks became convoluted after short seller Hindenburg, and you guys know about this, that was a couple weeks ago, after short seller Hindenburg Research lobbed fraud allegations against Nikola and its founder, Trevor Milton, who resigned as the company's executive chairman on September 21st. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives described the new deal as, quote-unquote, a good supply partnership rather than, quote-unquote, a game-changer deal for Nikola. Quote, in a nutshell, the signing of GM as a partner is a positive, but ultimately no ownership/equity stake in Nikola, and the billions of R&D potentially now off the table is a major negative blow to the Nikola story, he wrote in an investor note Monday morning. So that, in my opinion, guys, is a huge blow for Nikola. And I haven't even liked Nikola ever since this Hindenburg short report came out. And I really haven't liked Nikola even before that. They don't even sell anything, guys. It's kind of like an idea-based business at this point. I mean, yeah, they do have some things in motion, but it's not really a business that I want to be a part of, especially now that Trevor Milton stepped down. That's not a good look. This GM deal not being what it was supposed to be, that's another thing that's not a good look. So I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. I said that weeks ago. I'll say it again now. And if anything, I would short this thing, honestly, although I don't really short stocks. But I can see it breaking these lows. I can see it going back into the teens, quite honestly. I really could see that happening. So that's Nikola there. And again, moment of silence for Nikola. It's a rough situation out there. And CRM and Work, guys, ticker symbol WORK, they're doing well today. I mean, CRM not as much as Work, but CRM here is holding the uptrend here, and we're also getting rejected. Like I said yesterday, I mean, we're in this sort of wedge on the 4-hour chart on CRM. And let me redraw this, because what we're seeing today is, again, we are holding a higher low here. So this could very well be the bottom on CRM. We might be able to fill the gap up to 260, 265. And we got news today that the deal of Salesforce buying out Slack Technologies is reportedly going to be announced tomorrow. So if we get more details, when we get more details, maybe CRM does see a rally similar to what we're seeing here on Slack Technologies, which went up another 5% today. And earlier in the day, it was up well over 10%. It hit almost $46 per share. So This, on the flip side, Slack Technologies is a little bit overbought in my opinion, so I much rather trade CRM, again, off 245, maybe up to about 260, but they're both worth watching, CRM and Slack. And again, check out that deal that's reportedly coming out tomorrow, the details around it. These stocks are must watches for tomorrow. And Walmart, WMT, is one that is not as, I guess you can say, attractive as maybe some of these other ones, but it could be a quote-unquote safer trade, although there's no trades out there that are 100% safe. But Walmart at this point went up 0.8% today. We're holding that 50 SMA 4-hour chart, and I could see a move in the short term, maybe from 152.70, 152.80, maybe up to 155, maybe up to 157, right? Which is not a crazy amount of profit. I mean, it's 1%. So if you're trading with a smaller account, I mean, you might not be able to make a lot of money on that trade. But let's say you have a larger account, $30,000 to $50,000, $100,000, whatever you guys are dealing with, you could make a decent amount here on Walmart. And again, it's a quote-unquote safer trade out there in my eyes. And from 153 to 155, maybe 157, I definitely think that is possible here on Walmart. And another one like Palantir, like DraftKings, that dropped very quickly today, and it's down after hours even more to about $49, is NEO, guys. It dropped from 54 to 48, shed about 10% in the span of an hour this morning, rallied back up to 52. Now we're trading at 49. At this point, I mean, I'm looking at NEO maybe as a buy at about 48, $50. I think this 50 SMA ultimately will hold, although it is breaking under it a bit right now. I think we might recover back over it tomorrow, some point this week. If we do, we might be able to see a move back up to the mid-50s. But on the flip side, if this does break, we see a gap down tomorrow, I think we could be going to $44, $45, and I don't see it going much lower than that. I'll be honest. I don't see NEO going much under 45. So watch out for NEO, 45, 47, maybe $49, 50, anywhere in that range. We could see some momentum back up to the mid-50s, in my honest opinion. And another one here is Johnson & Johnson, ticker symbol J&J. Overall, it's downtrending. You got to be honest, it's downtrending, but we're at a point of support where we've held in the past, right around 144, 145, right? We've held that before. We've rallied off of that level. So I can see it making a move in the short term from 144, maybe up to 148, which does give us a good amount of profit there of about 3%. And today we were up about 0.5% on the day, which is showing strength in a red day overall in the market. I like that. And again, just take a look at how many times J&J has rallied off of 145, right? So that could happen again. And the last one here is AMD, which I called out yesterday, guys. I missed the move. That happens sometimes, right? You call out stocks, but you can't take all the moves. But if one of you or some of you guys made money on AMD, hey, that's good enough for me, right? It went up 6% today. And I was saying, if 87, 88 breaks, I think it's going to explode out of there because we can see it's seen a big resistance there ever since the beginning of August, right? And we've been uptrending and kind of we did see an ascending triangle up into that resistance, right? Penting us up into 88. And we just bursted out of there, guys. Again, up 6%. So at this point, I mean, AMD's worth watching on a pull down. I wouldn't necessarily FOMO into it now. I mean, if we pull down to $90, maybe we can ride it back up to 94. And I think overall in time, 94 is going to break as well. And we might see $100 per share here on AMD. And actually, no, we have the last couple here to talk about. This video is already over 30 minutes, but take a look at the MJ stocks, guys. There's a bill coming out that they're going to potentially pass the MJ, which we're using code words here, and make it federally legal, and that's coming here on Friday. They're going to vote on that, so make sure to keep an eye on that. A couple stocks I'm looking at, Canopy Growth, right? ACB, those are the two that I personally track. So overall, that is it for this video. If you guys enjoyed the content, as always, hit that like button for me. Again, we're trying to get 400 likes on the video. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get 20,000 subscribers. And don't forget to join the free Discord chat and Facebook group linked down below. Follow me on Twitter at Stas and on Instagram at StasSurfS. And don't forget to get your 4 free stocks from WeBull down below. That's running out here in the next couple of days. Deposit $100, and you get 4 free stocks valued up to $1,600. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, stay safe out there, guys. Keep crushing the markets. Peace out.